They didn't just take his house, they took a wrecking ball to it. And the man who ordered the demolition, his own father. Right now, today, there are workers at Frogmore Cottage ripping out every single thing Harry and Meghan ever put in. The yoga studio, torn out. The £5,000 copper bathtub, gone. The rewired electrics, the luxury finishes, the entire £2.4 million renovation being gutted, wall by wall, room by room. And the royal family isn't even trying to hide what this is. This is not maintenance. This is a message. You never existed here. But wait, because before we even get to Harry, we need to talk about the detail that changes everything. This house sat empty for 3 years. 3 years. Nobody wanted it. So when they finally needed to move Prince Andrew out of his home, they offered him Frogmore. He walked through the door, looked around, and said no. Prince Andrew, a man facing some of the most serious reputational damage in the history of the British royal family, looked at Harry and Meghan's old house and decided it wasn't good enough for him. Let that sink in. So why now? Why spend all this money tearing it apart instead of just leaving it empty? Some people close to the situation say it's deliberate, that this isn't renovation, it's an exorcism. And while those bulldozers are rolling in Windsor, Harry is reportedly sitting in his Montecito mansion with maps spread across the kitchen table like he's planning a military operation. Because in a way, he is. He reportedly wants to go back to Britain this summer. He wants to take Archie and Lilibet to Balmoral. He wants his kids to know their grandfather, while the king is still alive to meet them. King Charles has cancer. That clock is ticking, and Harry apparently knows it. But here's where the story cracks wide open. Word allegedly got back to Meghan that William and Catherine had made their position clear. They didn't want the Sussexes anywhere near their summer. No drama, no tension, no Harry and Meghan. And Meghan reportedly lost it. What followed, according to sources, wasn't a quiet disagreement over the dinner table, it was a showdown. And the line Meghan allegedly said, the line that should terrify Harry more than anything, was this: "You want to go to Britain? Fine, go. But the kids and we are not going with you." She didn't just shut the door on the trip, she reportedly packed a bag and flew to Switzerland, left Harry alone in California, barely speaking. Now, let's talk about Switzerland, because this is where it gets genuinely uncomfortable. Meghan flew to Geneva for a World Health Organization event. Big speech, important photos, powerful, serious stateswoman energy. That was the plan. Here's what reportedly happened instead. One journalist, reportedly the only foreign reporter who physically showed up, walked into that room and described it as almost completely empty. His exact summary: barely enough people to fill a phone booth. 10 people. After all the press releases, after all the fanfare, after 5 separate headlines ran the exact same headline. Meghan delivers powerful speech, word for word, copy and pasted from a press release that none of them bothered to verify. 10 people showed up. And that's not even the worst part. Meghan was photographed beaming beside a foreign health official at the event. That official was later reported to have made deeply offensive remarks about women and about Muslims, and nobody caught it beforehand, because there was nobody left to catch it. The staff are gone. The vetting operation doesn't exist anymore. The whole machine that a real royal tour runs on, the advanced teams, the researchers, the people who say, "Do not stand next to that man," all of it dissolved. Some sources suggest the entire Sussex operation is now running on goodwill and WhatsApp messages. Which brings us to the brand. As ever, Meghan's lifestyle company. Some people who track these things closely suggest it's in serious trouble. There are theories circulating, unverified but hard to ignore, that Netflix money was partly used to fund product inventory, which means Meghan only sees that cash back when the products actually sell, and the products reportedly aren't moving. So now we have matches, literal matches, being bundled with candles to try and shift stubborn stock. And look, bundling isn't stupid, it's a real retail strategy. But when a former senior royal is using a 50-cent item to try and save a luxury lifestyle brand she built around her own name, her own marriage, her own children, it tells you something about where things actually stand. Now, picture the full picture in Montecito. A mortgage on a massive estate, a private security bill paid entirely out of their own pocket that reportedly runs into the millions per year, a brand that's bleeding, a Netflix deal that reportedly won't be renewed on the same terms, Diana's inheritance quietly draining in the background, and Harry staring at those maps, staring at the distance between California and Balmoral. Suddenly, his reported desperation to get back to Britain looks a lot less like homesickness and a lot more like survival. Because here's what people forget. The moment they left the royal family, their entire value proposition disappeared overnight. They weren't celebrities, they weren't politicians, they weren't self-made entrepreneurs. They were royals. That was the product, that was the brand, that was the thing people were actually buying. And they voluntarily walked away from it and called it a freedom flight. Remember those two words? Freedom flight? Harry posted it the day they fled the UK. Smug, relieved, gone. He couldn't get away fast enough. Well, freedom's expensive when you're paying for your own security. Now, there are people, certain commentators, certain journalists, working very hard right now to sell you a story about a quiet reconciliation, a secret thaw between Harry and Charles. They point to the timing. Harry speaks out on anti-Semitism, and within days, it reportedly echoes in the king's own speech. Harry comments on Ukraine right before Charles flies to Washington for the most sensitive diplomacy of his reign. Officially, pure coincidence, every single time. Honestly, the timing is hard to dismiss. Some people speculate that father and son are still quietly coordinating, that Charles, the romantic, the man who reportedly told Harry, "Don't make my final years a misery," is trying to find a door back. But that door has a lock on it, and William holds the key. By multiple accounts, William doesn't merely disapprove of his brother, he reportedly blames him for the timing, for the damage, for everything that crashed down on their family during the hardest years of their lives. And with Charles in cancer treatment, many believe William is already the one quietly steering this monarchy. William, who is described by those who know him as categorical. No Harry, no Meghan, no return. Full stop. And the British public are not softening. If anything, they're getting harder. Lifelong royalists, people who have defended the crown their entire lives, are reportedly saying out loud that the day Harry gets any official role back is the day they walk away from the monarchy entirely. The Frogmore demolition was never just about a house. It was the first domino, and some people won't stop until every last domino has fallen. The website, the titles, the children's place in the succession, all of it. So let Harry keep staring at those maps, let him plan his routes, count the miles, dream about Balmoral. The house is rubble, the family's closed the gate, the brand is on life support, and his wife reportedly told him to go alone. The freedom flight landed exactly where it was always going to. Stay right there, because what's coming next is the part they're really trying to keep quiet.